the resistance that we're seeing in the valley, farmers are saying that if you enact the GE-free zone, it's going to be bad for agriculture. So what's your experience been in?
Okay, what we did, when we enacted a GE-free zone, we found that there were 3 dairy farms growing GE corn, so we exempted what was already there. And that literally eliminated the opposition, because everybody else said, we can live with that. And yeah, they're probably growing GE corn, and so I don't grow corn anymore because it may get cross-pollinated with the GE stuff. So we sacrifice corn, but everything else is GE-free. In Langley, one of the farmers up there is now talking about converting back to conventional agriculture. And that's what we're hoping will happen, is that eventually the farmers will start converting back. What I didn't mention is that the problem with GE corn is it's designed for bugs, for BT, and some of the plants are designed for Roundup. And the weed control stuff, the Roundup, the weeds are now immune to it. There's something like 30 or 40 or 50 varieties of weeds now that have mutated that they can grow in Roundup. So Roundup isn't any good anymore. And what they're doing now is they're replacing Roundup with 2,4-D. And if any of you know about 2,4-D, it was part of Agent Orange along with 2,4,5-T. It's 2,4-D, 2,4,5-T, and dioxins that made up Agent Orange. It wasn't just used in Vietnam, but in Vietnam they used it to spray the foliage. And today, hundreds and hundreds of Vietnam vets have sued successfully for health defects because 2,4-D, 2,4,5-T dioxin mix gives you prostate cancer and lymphoma. We sprayed the same stuff in Richmond. The city of Richmond sprayed that same Agent Orange at the same time as the Vietnam War, right through the middle of our farm. We have a dike goes through the farm, and they decided they wanted to kill the blackberries. We still had dairy cattle at that time. One of our prized dairy cows got sick, and the vet came and said, I think your cow's been poisoned. She aborted, she withered up and died. Another one did the same. We drank the milk from those cows. We ate the blackberries off the bushes. My dad died of lymphoma. I can now prostate cancer. Who knows? That's what we've been doing to ourselves over the decades. Now, 2,4-D is not the same as 2,4,5-T with dioxin, but we don't know what 2,4-D will do either. And that's the only thing in the arsenal that's better than Roundup now. And it's Dow Chemicals and Bayer, the aspirin people, that are coming in with these more intensive chemicals. And when the weeds get used to 2,4-D, are they going to use 2,4,5-T? They haven't got anything else so far. So that's the problem. Yeah.
Hi, I'm a director in the regional district in Area C, which is probably the biggest agricultural area. I think we have about 30% of all ALR land on Vancouver Island is in the Comox Valley, so it's huge. And it's funny you're mentioning, spraying the blackberries. I'm sure you can remember the smell of DDT.
Oh yeah, you got that right.
You remember that? But I want you to maybe elaborate on something you mentioned earlier about people buying large spreads in ALR and just building a house in the middle of it, living on it. What tools do you have to force a higher taxation rate on those people so that they can encourage them to at least lease out some of that land for farming? How does that work? Is there actually legal tools?
No, that's the problem. Basically, only the BC government can do that.
Yeah.
And so what we're asking is for the province, instead of opening up the agricultural land reserve to development, please come down on the ones that are sitting in the land, letting it go follow in the hopes that we'll look at and say, well, that can't be farmed. It hasn't been farmed for 20 years because they're letting it grow in weeds. Increase the taxes so that they'll make sure it's farmed. The big houses, we tried to bring in a bylaw in Richmond on the big houses, and as a matter of fact, we did. And the outrage of the owners of the big houses was such that my council backed down. It was 8-2 vote, and we rescinded the bylaw. So we have houses as big as 20,000 square feet in the middle of farmland. It's unbelievable. And they're not farmers. And what they do, the houses pay residential taxes, but the land under the house pays farm taxes. And all the yard around it, the tennis courts or the swimming pool or whatever else they build, is farm. And all they have to do, and I had this happen, I had someone call me up one day, and he didn't know me very well. He said, I've got 5 acres back in my house, which bring a cow over so I get farm taxes. That's exactly what he said. And guess what I said? But that's what's going on. And so what we'd like to see that loophole closed. So in my opinion, because of that, at least in the Lower Mainland, you should not be able to get farm taxes by leasing it to somebody for $1 a year. You should be farming it yourself. And these are not farmers, and I'd say the vast majority of the big houses, in fact, probably 90 or 100%, are not farmers, and they just lease it out for $1 to somebody who grows blueberries or puts a cow in the field. And they should pay higher taxes, or they should farm it themselves. Yeah.
I have a question for you about the compost. Is it owned by the city of Richmond, or and what's happening with the compost?
Yeah, it's actually owned by Harvest Power. We have a contract with them, but what I'm hoping to do in the future is to work out the contract. So, when we did it, is we wanted to get rid of the compost, so we contract with them to take it and do something with it. Now we kind of like to get it back. And so, but we're learning, right? Because it would be better if we controlled it the whole way, and that we owned the anaerobic digester, and then we were able to better, distribute the compost. They're trying to make a profit on it. They sell it. The only place in Vancouver, I don't think you can buy it in Sydney, but they sell it around the Lower Mainland in bags and compost for gardens, and it's fairly expensive. And right now, it looks to me like it's too expensive for the average farmer to afford it. And so we've got to find some way of figuring out a deal with Harvest Power as we bring more of the compost in, so that we can spread the price around a little bit so the farmers can afford to use it.
So they get the revenue too from the power generation?
Yeah, that's right. So that was part of the deal, because basically we contracted with them. We wanted to collect all the yard waste because it was going into the garbage dumps. And so we wanted to close our garbage dumps down, and some of my colleagues in Metro Vancouver want to build an incinerator and burn everything. So we're trying to get stuff away so there'll be nothing to burn. And we gave it to Harvest Power, but they're a wonderful company, but it makes a bit of a problem in how we distribute it to the farmers. Yeah.
Is there, are you able to enforce the GE in Richmond?
Yeah, good question. That's a fun question.
Could you repeat it?
The question is, can we enforce the GE in Richmond? And the answer is no and yes. And the no is that local government cannot legislate against GE. That's a federal jurisdiction and provincial jurisdiction. So even though we have banned the growing of GE crops in Richmond, legally we can't do it. But everybody knows we can't do it, so they've let us alone. However, when CropLife came and told us we can't do it, we said, but we've got the Jack of Diamonds, the key card. We took some pet stores to court 3 or 4 years ago. We wanted to stop the sale of badly treated puppies from puppy mills that were being brought across the border from the United States and under horrendous conditions and sold in these stores. So we banned the sale of puppies in Richmond stores. We were taken to court and we won. We can ban the sale of GMOs in Richmond stores. And so we told CropLife that, and so far nobody's trying to sell any GMOs in Richmond. Okay, but the farmers that grow the GMO corn can go and buy it in Cloverdale and plant it, but they can't buy it in Richmond. So that's the difference. So it's yes and no. Yeah.
See going forward, balancing the needs for housing a growing population with feeding a growing population?
Well, basically what we've said is go up. In fact, I use the analogy, it's better to go up 10 stories than to go up 10 kilometers. You know? And that's what we're doing. And so we decided in downtown Richmond several years ago just to take the whole downtown, and we're only allowed 14 stories, but I've got blue heron on my jacket. That's the symbol of Richmond, is the heron, the crane. Well, the cranes we've got in Richmond are great big tall ones, so they're all hovering over buildings. And we're building tall buildings as fast as they can put them up. And that's what's helping us, because we're getting the DCCs to buy the farmland to feed the people, and they can't go and build the farmland. And that's what we're doing. And we're trying to encourage every other city to do exactly the same thing. And it works, we've proven it.
Have you banned the sale of pesticides in stores in Richmond?
No, we haven't done that. We probably could, but we haven't really seen the need, because our ban on using them seems to have worked. And what we want to do is talk to the few stores that are selling them and say, you know, get them out of here. But it's been amazing that how successful it's been. We've had, for example, landscape companies tried to get exempted, and one landscape company went into an area that's under a condominium type management, and they were using it, and some of the people complained. Well, got enough people to complain, and away they went, they were gone. And that's really what has to happen. So as people are using them, neighbors complain, or the people in the housing developments complain, and it's working.
Thank you for an incredibly informative presentation. And on your behalf, I want to make an invitation. I would like you to invite 5 elected representatives who are here. And I really thank you people for coming out. I know you've got lots to do on a Friday night. I really appreciate it. To invite them for a tour when there's a municipal gathering in Vancouver or down there, to go and see all of these places.
Either sometime when there's a UBCM in Vancouver, or if you guys want to organize something to come anytime, we can set something up to go to these sites. And some of them, like the Terra Nova Farm, is under full production. The Fantasy Gardens were just starting, and the Garden City we're just planning. So we'd be very happy to show you, because one reason we're doing this, we kept saying over and over again, this is what we should do, this is what you should do, they should do, everybody should do. Nobody was doing it. So we then said, hey, let's just do it, and then people will see what we're doing.
Well, thank you so much. I think, Harold, you went above and beyond what we were expecting in the talk. And thank you for weaving in both ALR and GMO. I think I agree, everyone here really learned a lot about the example that Richmond is setting. The sky didn't fall when you did your GMO resolution. In fact, it's actually helped to benefit agriculture in Richmond, it sounds. So once again, thank you for making the trip all the way down. And Harold had to actually step away from Seedy Saturday, because it's Seedy Saturday in Richmond as well tomorrow. So it was a big sacrifice. We really had to twist his arm, because he didn't want to leave that. But I believe you're on the plane tomorrow at 8 a.m., so you can make it. Thanks again.
It's been my pleasure, and not just the politician. If anybody here wants to come and see these things, give me a shout. Talk to Arzina, talk to Wayne, and if you want to see this, I'd be happy to give tours and show you it all.
A little something for you.
Thank you very much.